You don't have to watch this video. You can pause it, read the description and the title. It has all the information in it. Part of this video is going to be a rant. Okay, here we go. 44.647672 by negative 110.939152. Yellowstone National Park. Apparently the 9-mile marker on a road, or near it. A fishing spot called 9 Mile Hole. It was a favorite for Forrest Fenn, who wrote a poem about the area and also buried some treasure there. And this poem about it was supposed to lead to the treasure, which was very valuable. There was a blog post at one point in 2020 that said it was Wyoming. Then later on, because of a frivolous lawsuit by Jamie McCracken, lawyers revealed Forrest Fenn had to tell someone the exact location or show it to them or whatever. And it ended up being Sarah Davis, who was Yellowstone National Park's chief ranger at the time. So that means it's in Yellowstone National Park within Wyoming. May 13th, 2022, the box was found in the dirt at that location I gave you. It is not in degrees, minutes, and seconds, which have a maximum precision grade of plus or minus 100 feet, which really means within a football field of the spot. Unless you put in a lot of effort, degrees, minutes, and seconds isn't good enough in the middle of a forest with downed trees and rocks and stuff that even the instructions I'm going to give you on how to go there aren't going to work very well. It was near his favorite fishing spot, and this medical student, former journalist, Jack Stuef, found it using Forrest Fenn's poem and several books, one of these or more. 2010's The Thrill of the Chase, which gives you an idea how long it was in the ground. 2013's Too Far to Walk. 2017's Once Upon a While, and then a revised version a year later were done as well. The website fennchest.com/solution is one of many sources, but this is the one that does it the least ambiguously, that quote-unquote pinpoints exactly where it was found. By using a Google pin, we'll get to that in a minute, picture on Google Earth. Google Earth allows you to do Dutch angles from hell, bending every angle possible, taking an apparently clear image and making it as ambiguous as hell, up to and including the fact that depending on which version of Google Maps you're using, the point where the pin enters the ground isn't the location. It's whatever force perspective you have on the handle at the midpoint. This one happened to be the pinpoint. Also, the map is the same one currently used by Google Maps for the area. It's an aerial photo taken of Yellowstone from the air. It's an aerial photo. And I was able to match it up and get the GPS location to not plus or minus 100 feet, but plus or minus 1 meter. It's reproducible. It's consistent. It's probably accurate. Unless fennchest.com/solution simply put in the wrong information. I want to point out, again, any page that talks about it generally gets vague as hell with this, including which location really is 9 Mile Hole, because 9 Mile Hole isn't actually the location necessarily. It's near it. So I'm going to give you the treasure map and instructions correctly. Go to the location nearest 9 Mile Hole. There's a little turnoff. It's very distinctive on the road there. Plus or minus 2 miles, we've got it too. When you go there, let's say this is the curve of that road, and this is north. Geographic north, not magnetic. You're going to have to use magnetic north next. Get a compass. Yes, that's literally what happened. Then, on this part of the swale, you walk out from the road and look for a big boulder there. There's several of them, but it'll be right next to the water line if the water height is the right height for you to be able to cross it. You then cross as close as you can, due south, and look for a log that's actually a tree that broke and fell into the river. It'll be swept from here to the northwest, or northeast, excuse me. When you go to that, get onto the west side of the log, and then go magnetic south for 150 or 140 feet, depending on who you're talking to. And you will find one of many patterns where the trees have fallen on each other and made little squares in the ground. Well, I say little on the map, it looks little. They're pretty big. You can pretty much set up a tent there. And if you sat down in one, you wouldn't be visible. You could prairie dog. It'd be a good place to sit and have a sandwich while you're, wishing you could catch a fish there. Especially the brown trout, which is alluded to in the poem. Anyway, when you get there, you look for this crosshatch pattern. And on one of the corners where the crosshatch happens, you look at, and you should see, one of these has a tree that's broken off a little bit high at the stump and fallen over and is distinctive compared to the others for that one reason. And under that point is where this box was. That's it. That's the end of the video. You don't have to watch the rest. What is this rant about? Well, let's look at the Wikipedia pages that were redacted in 2021. There's a link below in the description. Let's look at a YouTube video where someone did not get as detailed as... I just did a description that would give you the data. I also gave you a decimal latitude and longitude instead of one that's degrees, minutes, and seconds, which is ambiguous. It's a absolute pick-up sticks level mess out there to walk through. You'd have to use dead reckoning and crap like that. Or, let me explain. There's this thing people have called a cell phone, and it does GPS very well if you just sit it down and don't shake it around dramatically for a YouTube video, where you claim to be a truther about space aliens or a landing site that was there 3 years before you said it happened. Or you claim to be a true crime solver and you're trying to help find Kenny Vatch in the M Cave, but you won't give a GPS location while you talk for over 20 minutes, holding still, but not telling us where that is on a GPS that's built into the phone you're using to record this. And when it gets pointed out, you get mad and flag my channel. I did a video a long while ago, pointing out that at least one or two things in the video that Kenny Vatch's channel has uploaded are able to be tracked. And I told people this is reproducible and consistent. You can follow his video from the points I give you and look at them through Google Maps, Google Street View, and just Google Earth, where you can tilt the map and get the same images and line them up to where it's not ambiguous where he was standing when he did the videos, and finding as many points along the video as possible, and then posting that and getting told by people, you're ruining our fun. Kenny Vatch is a missing person that people claim to try to solve his mystery of being missing to help him. But then when you do something that would remove the ambiguity that they seem to enjoy, they tell you you're ruining their fun. But this is just, Yellowstone National Park and someone putting out, a box full of gold and metal detecting. Yes or no? Does gold show up about the same as lead fishing weights? Or does it? You decide. Is it a location where people would very likely go? Trust me, people who are not really fishermen and who don't go fishing, don't want to wade in a river and live. They don't have to, especially Yellowstone, especially during the time of year where you're really going to get fish, especially when it might be low. You might want to look up when that happens. There's a scale and timing and stuff. That location picked may or may not have been perfect for hiding a bunch of gold, and would still be. I'm not saying, I'm just saying you might want to remember this video. So, again, my instructions. Go to the turnoff at 9-mile marker, look for the 9-mile hole signs, or find out from a fisherman where it is. Park. Go to the, I'm going to call it we'll call it the 7 o'clock position on the curve. Go due south until you see the big boulder. Line up with that. Go due south magnetic. Cross the stream. Find the log. Go due south magnetic from that. 150 or 140 feet. And look for a square just like all the others, but it has one tree bent over it and still there. And that'll be where the box is. That's a set of instructions on how to find it. That's vague as hell, but it's a lot better than a poem or quatrain that people claim to have decoded. Well, it has the GPS information in it. It has the coordinates, the latitude and longitude. It really does? Yeah. But did you ever explain to people how that works? No, that would ruin the fun. Another person said, I've decoded each part of it. And on that solution page, it vaguely does that, but it doesn't explain how that's a sequence of clues that would lead you to it. This is someone who found out, Forrest Fenn, that he may be dying from something. He actually thought he was dying at the time. He said that's what it said. I'm not arguing that. I'm going to assume it's true. And he went in for treatment anyway, but he decided to go bury gold in two trips. Go bury a bunch of gold that he got. You know, some very valuable stuff he collected over his lifespan, so that other people could find it. And he was given clues to where it was, because he knew he was dying and wanted to make sure there was something there when he died. It was the kind of place he would like to, you know, it's his idea of heaven. If I'm going to die, I'd rather die fishing here, that kind of thing. Okay. He buried it where he'd like to be, in the middle of a bunch of downed trees that's hard to navigate when you're an old man. Instead of literally by the river where you'd be fishing. If you look on Google Maps for the area, there's a lot of boulders next to the water. And they have downstream, not going to get washed out areas that are little underspaces where you could stuff things and then just shove rocks against it. Called caches. He even used the word blaze, which is used by anybody who's a trailblazer. Blazes are marks you leave on trees to indicate what you're doing. You can look up how to blaze a trail. That actually has a meaning to it. He makes lots of allusions to this. And again, somebody has claimed that he arranged with the person who was going to find it to wait. How many years is that? It's like, that's 12 years to wait to dig it up. Some people are claiming maybe it was never buried there. Only the person burying it, the person recovering it, can prove this. And yes, the location has been. There's a video below linked that ends in NAC that you can watch where someone reproduces the pathway to get to it. I would have looked for anything that was a prominent object and headed due south and just kept checking and checking and checking with a metal detector. And even if it was lead weights, I would dig it all up, trying to find it. I've gone on treasure hunting trips, arranged ones, you know, scavenger hunts, and I've learned to do this stuff out in the middle of the desert. So, how would you write a treasure map, or do it as a quatrain or a poem or a book that you would sell to make money off of the mystery? What would you do after someone died, supposedly following their wishes by not telling anybody the actual GPS data? Most of the pages don't do it. Now, again, on the blog, on the fennchess.com solution, I looked at a Google Maps, Google Earth image that had been tilted and Dutch angled to death to try to obscure it, but they still had a Google pin going to a certain plot. That's what that's pointing at. And that matches up with a couple of other places that did almost the same thing and went out there. Even if they didn't want you to know the exact location so that anybody could do it, apparently that's called spoiling the fun. It's the same location, so that's literally it. And that's it. That's the entire video. My rant is about people intentionally withholding precision and a satisfying answer because they exploit it, even in the case of somebody who went missing. Watch out for that. Call it out. Don't fall for it. Dopamine highs from this kind of stuff get in the way of finding out the truth about things sometimes. But how would you do this differently? And what would you do if you found a treasure like that? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And yes, if I had found it, I wouldn't tell anybody I found it. And honestly, I don't think the other guy, if they were thieves or, you know, hucksters, I don't think they could keep this secret for 12 years. I think one of them would have run off with it by then.